The sacrifice of fools. If you understand this, this may be one of the things that have been destroying the quality of your results in your life, in your career, and in your business. This concept I have tagged the sacrifice of fools. Now, in this session, I will cover a few things because if you really understand this, this is one thing that when I understood this concept and I began to practice it, and of course, when I teach this concept to my clients in my coaching community, and when they understood this, incredible feedback came in. The sacrifice of fools. Follow me carefully. In this video, I will break down this concept on the sacrifice of fools and how it applies to our lives. I will also show you how to apply this concept in your life and in your business. I will also show you what I've tagged the common financial sacrifice of fools. And I will also show you how to avoid the sacrifice of fools in your financial life so you can experience, financial progress. Now, this concept comes from the Bible actually. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1. The amplified the new international version. And the Bible says, guard your steps when you go to the house of God. Go near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools who do not know who do not know that they do wrong. Now, let me break down this concept in terms of what I'm talking about today. You see, wasting effort, wasting resources, wasting time on actions that seem valuable or on actions that are not valuable, but ultimately, these actions, these resources, these your efforts, this time, the way you spend your time, it lacks wisdom, it lacks strategy, it lacks, effectiveness. You are on the pathway of, offering the sacrifice of fools as far as your efforts, your input into your life is concerned. The people that practice the sacrifice of fools are very good at mistaking motion for progress. They're good at mistaking, busyness for productivity. I'm going to break it down because many people who practice the sacrifice of fools confuse constant activity with meaningful achievement. You see, I have one thing I love to do is I love to observe, I love to study a lot of people, especially people that the World Bank have been able to stratify people into the lower class, the middle class, the upper middle class, and of course the upper class. And so I like to study people in all classes of level, from the poorest to the richest, to understand their psychology, their actions, and so many things about them, right? So one thing that I've come to conclude is that people who practice offering the sacrifice of fools are very good at confusing, constant activity in their life with meaningful achievement, thereby leading to a lot of exhaustion. And of course, this exhaustion does not produce real or quality result. Now, people that also practice the sacrifice of fools is what they do is that they are good at taking action without direction. And of course, I always say that speed in the wrong direction is an enemy. Actions in the wrong direction is an enemy to your progress. You see that now? So, taking steps without a clear plan is a typical way that people who practice the sacrifice of fools, that's how they think. You see that? So, what they do lead to wasted effort and it leads to missed opportunities, and they operate from that place of busyness without productivity, or being busy but being unproductive, right? And these people get to work hard on tasks that feel important but they are not important. You see, you can be doing things that they're going to make you feel important, but those things are not really important, and these things don't contribute to your real progress and of course to your real success, right? So if you find yourself around this foundation I've laid down, then you have been practicing this concept that I call the sacrifice of fools, right? I'm not saying you're a fool, but people, there's a way you can do things that, portray foolishness. And you see, everybody, carries a weight of foolishness, right? Now, who is a fool? Let me explain this. Anybody who is a fool is somebody who everything that they constantly do leads to stupidity and wrong results, right? So a fool is somebody that 80 to 90% of their actions leads to foolishness. So they only have 10% of wisdom. Meanwhile, a wise person, 80 to 90% of their actions are from the place of wisdom and strategy. So they have only 10% of foolishness. In real sense, everybody has a measure of foolishness and everybody has a measure of wisdom. The difference is some people have function from the place of 80 to 90% of wisdom and 10% of foolishness. That's why you can say, okay, this person is wise, right? But every wise person has a measure of foolishness, and every foolish person has a measure of wisdom. The point is, their foolishness is more potent, is more massive than their wisdom. So where do you fall, right? I had to explain that before somebody gets angry that I'm calling him or her a fool. I do not call anybody a fool. I'm just teaching a concept that if you understand, your life will change. Now, how does, the sacrifice of foolishness or the sacrifice of fools applies to life and business? Follow me here carefully. Number one, effort without strategy. Anytime you put in effort without strategy, you are offering the sacrifice of fools. You get that now? So scan your life right now. What are you doing in your life right now without strategy, without a concrete plan? What are you just aimlessly doing? That is a sacrifice of a fool that you're doing right now, right? So do an audit right now in your life. Are there any efforts that you're doing right now without a strategy? You see, many people work hard but not smart. They invest resources and time in tasks that look productive but do not move them forward. So if there are things you are doing in your life right now that seem productive, but if you look at your life in the last few weeks and few months and even a few years, and the things you have been doing are not moving you forward in the core areas of your life, you have been offering the sacrifice of fools. You see that now. For example, in business, I deal a lot of business people. A business owner spends excessive time, let's say, on branding, but neglects customer acquisition, neglects leading, you so neglect strategic ways of creating a good experience for the customer. You see, if you do a lot of branding and you have terrible customer service and customer experience, that is offering the sacrifice of fools. Doing a lot of that's a branding is a very good effort, but you need a strategy on how to harness the output of your branding effort and convert your branding effort into acquiring customers and literally making a lot of sales that leads to productivity. This how this sacrifice of fools applies to life and business. Number two, speaking without thinking. Speaking without thinking. You see, the sacrifice of fools can also refer to making rash commitments, promises or investments without proper understanding. Going to social media and commenting carelessly, abusing people carelessly, giving your opinions on things that you don't really understand. That is you offering the sacrifice of fools. If you are the person that you easily get angry and you speak carelessly to your spouse, to your siblings, or to people without thinking, that is you offering the sacrifice of fools. Speaking without thinking. Elite performers know how to document their thoughts. They know how to order their thoughts in their brains. They have trained their brain to order their thoughts and to speak in a flow that people can understand. Right? So, speaking without thinking is a very good example of offering, sacrifice of fools. Number three, very pertinent in this generation, prioritizing appearance over substance. prioritizing appearance over substance. You see, people, this is where people focus on, how they look, how they want to appear in public, but they have no substance to offer to the public, right? There's a way, like in social media right now, everybody seems to look good and nice on social media, and sometimes if you dig deep into their lives, they have no substance to offer, right? Like for example, social media branding. You go on LinkedIn, you go on Instagram, people have beautiful pages and beautiful descriptions of who they are. I am a catalyst of this, I am a that, I am an architecture, I am an engineer. Especially in this field of brand of human capital development, training, coaching, and speaking, and all of that. And when you begin to talk to many of them, you don't hear, there's no substance, there's no quality, there's no, they have not paid the price to burn the midnight candles, right? You see, if I talk to somebody who reads extensively, I would know. And if you talk to me, or the way I speak or present things let's say I'm a speaker somewhere, I'm training somewhere, or leading a workshop somewhere, you will know if I have substance or not, based on what I'm teaching and what I'm communicating and how I am communicating it. You see that? So if you focus a lot on prioritizing appearance over being a person of substance, there's a problem. If you focus on branding without substance to back up the brand, you are offering the sacrifice of fools. So you need to make some changes. Example in terms of business and finance is, you see, some people buy expensive clothes, they buy expensive cars, expensive watches, expensive shoes. Women buy expensive handbags, expensive, human hair. They buy all these things while behind the scenes they are struggling financially. While behind the scenes they lack the value that they can convert to monetary terms and become more successful. They lack the substance to be value creators and to be contributors in the society. So they buy these things so that these things can help them appear relevant or appear that they are doing well. So they're in the business of pleasing people, and they're not in the business of building substance and building stability. Stop sacrificing your stability for the future in order to look good or to appear good in front of people who sometimes will even forget you in the next few hours. You see that now. Number four is, action without learning. This is another sacrifice of fools. Taking action without learning. Now, this is very important. You see, taking action is important, but acting without learning from past mistakes leads to repeated failures. Acting on things when you have not acquired the right knowledge, the right skills, will lead to failure. It's like, for example, starting a business. You have been thinking of starting a business and you have never read any proper business book that talk about business planning, business modeling, customer acquisition, talk about marketing, talk about sales, financial management, talk about market expansion, talk about how to calculate profit margins, and all of these things. You have not spent the time to read a book or to take courses before you venture into business. That is the sacrifice of a fool. Taking action without adequate knowledge to back the action you are taking. Now, there's an extreme for some people. They will read so many books, take so many courses without taking action. Balance the two. Be a learning person and be a person of action. You will do incredible things, right? The example I documented here is that an entrepreneur keeps launching businesses without analyzing why previous ventures failed, leading to a cycle of repeated setbacks. For example, relationships. You are thinking of getting married as a man, as a woman. You have not read any book on marriage. Marriage is different from being a boyfriend or being a girlfriend. Totally different, right? So pay attention to that. Now, those are, the four that I can share right now, ways that if you have been doing any of this, right, you have been offering the sacrifice of fools. Now, I want to weigh down to the sacrifice of fools in finance, because money is critical in the society. When you get your money life wrong, if so many things in your life will go wrong. Now, how does this concept work in finance? And I believe that if you understand what I'm about to share with you and you practice, you will change your financial life forever. You see, in the financial world, the sacrifice of fools refers to poor money decisions that feel smart or necessary but ultimately lead to waste, losses, and stagnation. I will explain, give you examples. Many people make financial sacrifices without understanding whether these sacrifices or those sacrifices will actually move their financial life forward. Now, let me give you examples. Common financial sacrifices of fools that I have done before, and probably you are doing them right now, or you have done them before and you need to change. Number one, spending to impress instead of to invest. If you have ever spent money to buy anything, to make a point, to impress anybody, instead of investing that money, you just practice the sacrifice of fools in terms of your financial life. Because we're in a generation now where many people spend money to appear wealthy, meanwhile they are not wealthy. You see, the goal is to be actually rich, not to look rich. Many people in the middle class and in the lower class will invest a lot to look rich when they are not actually rich. You see that? So that is a typical example of offering the sacrifice of fools. So spending money to appear rich instead of building actual riches is offering the sacrifice of food. So you need to focus on how do I spend money, invest money to build actual riches, and not focusing on how to and not focusing to impress people or to appear rich, right? So number two, savings without purpose. Savings without purpose. I always give a funny example. I always say that anybody who just says, I get that a lot on my social media inboxes and all of that. If somebody already reached out to me, um, this money just came in. I don't know what to do with it. I'm thinking, can you recommend? It's not good, right? It's not good. I always say that if you have some money and you don't know what to do with it, keep it. Think through it. Get the right knowledge before you make a move. And if you are saving money, save money with purpose. What is the purpose of saving money? And establishing purpose for savings will enable you to actually save, because your purpose will influence the quality of your decisions and your actions around money, right? So saving without purpose is another way of sacrifice of fools. While saving is important, I said, while saving is important, saving without an investment strategy will lead to stagnation. You see that? So save with strategy, save with a purpose, save with an end goal, save with a timeline. It's going to change your financial life. Number three, chasing quick profits without due diligence. Many people have fallen into this trap. Things like crypto, quick investments, pyramid schemes, some fake network marketing companies. I'm sure one of you listening to this, you have fallen for one of these. Chasing quick profits without due diligence is another example of sacrifice of fools when it comes to finances, right? So, what does this mean? If you are good at jumping into high risk investments or jumping into things that you heard, oh, this is making so much money, you just jump into it. You jump into it without understanding, without paying the price to get expert advice or getting the right knowledge, and this you're jumping into these decisions ultimately lead to financial troubles. Afterwards, you just offered the sacrifice of fools as far as your finance is concerned. So be careful when it comes to chasing quick profits without due diligence. Therefore, what is the way out? Pay the price for due diligence. Pay the price for due diligence. And if you're saving money with purpose, when you want to use that money, especially when it comes to investment, pay the price for due diligence. Number four, the fourth example of sacrifice of fools in terms of finance is paying for convenience instead of creating value. Paying for convenience instead of creating value. Many people are broke right now because they sacrifice financial stability for short term convenience, right? They sacrifice financial stability for short term convenience. They can buy something right now because it makes them to feel comfortable, and it will cost them their financial stability in the long run. For example, buying, let's say, the latest iPhone so you can fit in, right? So you can have the convenience if it just so you have the latest iPhone or the latest gadgets. Meanwhile, you don't even use that iPhone to any level that you should be using it, right? You should have stayed with the oldest iPhone model, for example. But people, for the sake of convenience, that is not really convenient, if I may say so, it costs them their financial stability. So if you are fond of paying for convenience instead of creating value, because anybody who creates value and packages value and brands that value and sells that value or monetize the value will always end up making money. So if you focus on paying for convenience instead of learning how to create value, it is going to cost you your financial stability. Number five, ignoring financial education. If you have never read a book on anything money, wealth creation, right now you are offering the sacrifice of fools. Anybody who is serious about getting their financial life right should read a book on how to make money, how to keep money, and how to multiply money. Foundation. Get books that can help you know, how do I make money? How do I keep money? And how do I multiply money? If you have never read quality books around these three broad areas I've given you, you are offering the sacrifice of fools as far as your finances are concerned, right? So it is dangerous. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. I'm saying it again. As far as your financial life is concerned, if you're taking actions around it from the place of guesswork and assumption and hoping that you will get it right without the right knowledge. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's actually a playlist on my YouTube channel that focuses just on money trainings that I've done. If you spend time and watch those trainings and go through them, it will shift your financial life forever. I guarantee you that. Now, how to avoid the sacrifice of fools? I've been saying some of this already, but let me list quickly and then I'm done. Is invest in knowledge before investing your money, right? Pay the price to acquire knowledge, understanding financial terms and financial instruments and financial tools before you commit to investing is very important. Number two, prioritize assets over appearance. Build real wealth instead of just looking rich, right? Focus on assets instead of appearance. There are some things that you should not buy. You should save the money or use that money and buy an asset and monetize that asset and make more money. Number three, when it comes to money, think long term. When it comes to experiencing financial success, please think long term. Nobody gets rich overnight. It doesn't work like that. Even in this fast paced generation, money will require long term thinking. The difference is that 100 years ago, the amount of money that somebody will need to make in 10 years, somebody can make right now in 3 years. The long term perspective has changed. The long term perspective of making money 200 years ago, 100 years ago is different from now. But the concept of long term thinking in making money is still the same. So don't expect making money in 2 days and being a millionaire is not going to work. You need to grow into wealth. You need to grow into wealth, right? So, number four, make money work for you. Learn how to make money work for you. Understand how investments work. Understand how you can create passive income as far as your skills are concerned. Understand how smart saving strategies work, especially with your bank. Pay the price and get the right knowledge. I guarantee you, if you do this, it's going to help you. I hope that you learned something as far as this concept of the sacrifice of fools is concerned. And I hope that after this, you will stop offering the sacrifice of fools and start offering the sacrifice of the wise. All right. God bless you. Keep building. Cheers.